are live on YouTube. I've never actually done one of these before, which is strange. So I thought I would just do it because Dontnod has just dropped some big news and it's quite exciting. And yeah, so apologies if I do look really bad doing this, but first time for everything. It's probably first time interacting with people if people do join this chat. But yeah, so Dontnod has dropped a rebrand, which is huge news from the developer. And in itself, we are going to look more at this on Strangecast. I had hoped to do a kind of preview episode with Adam right now where we could have talked about it briefly, but you know, he's based in America and I'm based in the UK. So I've had the fortunate pleasure of not having my schedule preoccupied. So I thought I'd drop this one now to have a quick chat about what's happened. If anyone wants to come in here, they can talk about it. If not, they can catch up on the highlights. So in itself, this is like the news I expected, because the way that the teaser was done yesterday from Dontnod's Twitter account, it kind of almost suggested to me that we were going to, well, a lot of people seem we were going to get a lot of big news, but I felt that there was going to be a bit cryptic with what's going to happen. And if you actually follow Player One versus the World on Twitter, 15 minutes before this even happened, we actually showed what the logos were as well. So we actually found this ahead of time. So this is why you should follow us on Twitter. And this is why I'm very good at sleuthing with stuff, because we were there first. I'd actually seen the clip many, many times. It was unlisted on Dontnod's Twitter account. And I thought, you know what, let's just have a quick look on, not their Twitter account, their website. It was a YouTube video that was unlisted, so I saw it on there, so I was watching it quite a few times. And it was just crazy. So in itself, let me just give you a recap if you haven't been following. Dontnod cryptically tweeted from their Twitter account yesterday, a little birdie told us that if you come back here tomorrow, you'll see some news from us and maybe even get some clues as to what we've been working on. So very cryptic at first, and I was like, well, this came out of nowhere. I expected it to be big news, and my gauge was a bit different. Me and Adam were privately talking about it, and I said to him, like, you know what, I don't know if it's going to be big news, if it's not going to be big news. And then, like, some of the other people are tweeting about it, people from Dontnod, including Luke was there. He tweeted about it, so I was a bit like, are they going to reveal a Montreal game? And then I was like, I'd expect maybe Michelle to be involved on Twitter if they were going to do that. So I went away for a moment. I was like expecting, let's see what's going to happen. And then fast forward to today, been waiting all day. Obviously, I'm in UK time, so I have that fortunate pleasure of waiting on the UK clock. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. And I knew that yesterday their website went down for maintenance. So in itself, they're obviously doing something there. So I was like, you know what? Let's have a quick look. And then I logged on about 15 minutes before Dontnod tweeted and their website was up and running. So I was like, ooh, here we go. Opened up their website, and lo and behold, it was there, the rebrand. I think it was like posted on the 27th of May or something, where it said that they Dontnod was going to go through a rebrand on the 14th, to mark their 14th anniversary. And the YouTube video is there as well, unlisted. So in itself, if you go on our Twitter page as well, you'll see that we have posted quite a lot of the logos that were shown. So that was crazy in itself to see that. And the first thing I noticed with the logos, and I think many other people noticed as well, was, hey, this has to kind of tease some of the games in there. How many logos in there? And I'll come on to that in a little bit. I just kind of wanted to read what they've actually posted on their website. Clarks, hello. How are you? I hope you're well. Again, first interaction with people who have followed this channel for almost 2 years, and it's just nice to see people. So I hope you're doing well. I hope you're excited as I am about this as well. So thank you for your message. So just to read you out here, they put as a title, a brand new visual identity and website to celebrate our 14th year anniversary. So in itself, the first big news is Dontnod. So don't with a space, nod, previously known as Dontnod Entertainment. We no longer have Dontnod Entertainment. I think the rebrand on that is good. Andrew, thank you very much. Pleasure having you here. I love you, man. Support all my videos as well. It's always nice. So on this news, Dontnod, so rebrand, and I think that's good for them as well. Not really, you know, I've never really seen a lot of websites use Dontnod Entertainment as full, but this seemed a bit more logical, and I think that's, I kind of wouldn't have the space between Don't and Nod, but hey, you know what, we'll do that. So, and yes, thank you, Clarks. I've seen that. We will be coming on to Luke reacting to that, so I think that is a strong suggestion, and I'd be very shocked if it wasn't their game. So Dontnod, previously known as Dontnod Entertainment, is celebrating our 14th year of creating meaningful narrative games. The company has evolved consistently since the beginning, and so we've undergone a visual rebranding as part of our evolution to better reflect who we are as a company today. It's an exciting time for us, and we wanted to share our excitement with you. We have produced a reel to showcase our new logo. It's an adaptable design and can be tailored to represent different games, genres, and universes. So it's a good job. We have several upcoming projects to test it on. And so we've got to talk about new visual identity. The company has undergone lots of huge changes in recent years, namely the addition of our Montreal studio and our expansion into game publishing, which brings us to around 320 talents in France and Montreal that benefit from our innovative frog scheme. Dontnodians, I like that I've actually used that. Dontnodians are all working in several human-sized teams and on 6 exciting upcoming internal projects. We've known this for quite a while. We self-publish most of our games as well as those of other developers by offering our support in bringing their creations to life. With this new logo, we wanted to introduce the apostrophe and space between the 2 words to truly embrace the meaning of don't nod. Okay, maybe I was a bit harsh. They seem to have a really good meaning for it. That's their logic behind it. So don't nod is 2 words to represent our tendencies to be non-conventional as a company and in the games we create, as in we don't nod along to everyone else's tune. The D is shattered and the N appears within it, signifying that we're not afraid to break the mold. The new logo links our games, meaningful power stories with who we are as a company. So the quote from Oscar Gilbert, I won't go into that too much. They've obviously done a rebrand and I'm going to bore you if I keep talking like this. It's that. So like they did that, and then obviously the big news everyone was watching was the video. It's like 14-second long, loads of different variations of the Don't Know logo with different settings. The first thing I knew at this point was like, this is where our clue comes from. They're going to tell us what the games that they're making, and they're quite varying to degrees. I think like I almost had a Tell Me Why vibe from the snow-based one, and there were quite a few others as well. And I was kind of like struck by how much there was. There's 7 in there as well. So in itself, let me just add you a couple of things in here. So Dontnod has actually put, someone called Seb on Twitter said, I see 7 logos and 6 self-published games. And with the one in snow is probably good. Greta, am I right? They said almost right. The snow one is Gerda, A Flame in Winter, to be released on September 1st. Other people have posted things as well. Someone else posted Sci-Fi Project, where it's like almost like a space kind of vibe. And Don't Know put some eye symbols. And yeah, so like they've dropped all that. And I was quite taken back by that. So in itself, Luke, obviously we know Luke from Montreal, the studio executive producer, he's posted this one. If you actually go on Twitter, you can see it. It is the first opening clip. It's the VHS tape. And I remember thinking, I was like, when I was watching all this, I was like, which one is the Montreal game? Like, that's the big one for a lot of people. Not that, you know, we aren't interested in the other games. I was kind of like, which one is the Montreal game? First thing I was doing, I was like looking through, I was like, I need to suss out which one it is. And he's posted the VHS tape. So it's a VHS tape with the Don't Nod logo on it. So I'm kind of like, I was like, wow, I need to kind of just like talk about it. And we will dig into it a lot more on Strangecast. Absolutely, it's going to probably be a big meaty segment. And obviously want to talk to Adam about it. But, you know, life gets in your way like that. So Andrew, you put, I wonder though, could they potentially make a new Life is Strange game? Maybe. I've always said this, like the relationship's weird with Square Enix now at this point. Like I think they were basically brought as freelance contractors, kind of do Life is Strange 2 because Square Enix owns the IP. And I've always said to people, I'm like, you know, in the Montreal crew, I've always seen that like Luke is there and Michelle's there, and I've always said like Raoul Barbet, who was the co-director on Life is Strange 1 and 2, I haven't seen him. He doesn't really have a social media presence, but like, is he in Montreal? Is he back in France? Is he helming his own team? Could he be making another Life is Strange game? Could it be a Life is Strange game down the line? Potentially. We don't know. But I think at this point, I think Dontnod is kind of going down that big route of trying to establish itself as a big publisher, as a meaningful publisher with like a development studio. It's kind of really vamping off its success from Vampire, from Life is Strange. So I think, like, for the moment, I think they're going to be away from it for the time being. But if they were going to make a Life is Strange game, I would be more than fine with them doing it with another team, but also with, like, you know, Raoul Barbet, like, leading the directing role. Like, it doesn't just have to be Michelle and Raoul doing it as a tag team package. I think you can do the two of them together, or one of them just helming the project. So that's quite a feasible thing. But I think for the moment they are working on all these projects. I think that all the different, logos that we saw kind of represent the different games that we worked on. I'll probably go through them in a minute as well when we get into that. So Clark's to not afraid to break the mold. I like that a lot. I didn't see originally get that from the logo, but that makes sense. Yeah, like the website in itself, like they explain a lot more about it, because it in itself, I would say with like rebranding, it's just not that easy. Like, when if you rebrand something and then it's like it doesn't have really any meaningful urgency. I think like when I said about the name of the studio, I was like, I don't really like it. Then reading about why they've done it, I'm a bit like, yeah, I can feel it. I got a meaning for it. I understand why. I always thought it was clear that the Dontnod team really didn't want to do more after Life is Strange 1, but they dove their hand. Yeah, Life is Strange 1 was really different one. I always found that with like Life is Strange 2, and I think that's why it almost like divided the, the fan base a bit. I love Life is Strange 2. People know that I love Life is Strange 2. And I think that for me was the logical way of going about it. If you weren't going to do a Max trilogy, which I think you could have done, I've always said like with the Lightning trilogy they did with Final Fantasy 13, I feel like that was the kind of trilogy you shouldn't be doing with a character because it was so divisive for Final Fantasy 13. But I think Life is Strange could have been a trilogy with Max. But I think the original vision intended almost from Dontnod seems to be like an anthology. If you're going to do it, let's do it with a different story, different characters. And I think that's why they did Life is Strange 2. And they went really down a different route, and that's why it seems so weird with like Square Enix's like position. Like they don't really embrace it as much as the first Life is Strange, True Colors, and Before the Storm. But I think it's an unbelievably underrated game, and I think like I would love more and more people to play Life is Strange 2. Like I just genuinely cannot rate it enough. So I agree with both of you. I think there's a lot to be said there. So let me quickly run through this, and I don't want to play it from my video on here. So wait, let's have a look. So yeah, the first one is a cassette tape, a videotape. I feel old now as well. I feel so old. I was born in the 90s, and just seeing it just feels weird. Imagine a new generation audience, like especially with Dontnod games as well. They do bring in people from, post 2000. If they see that, they're probably like, "What is that?" And trust me, it's like you can tell that with people. Like they do question things like, it's like, why is there like a floppy disk thing on Microsoft Word? It's like, well, that's how you save things, and most people just don't realize that. So that was the first one. That was quite cool. And then this was the one that gave me Tell Me Why vibes. Like I don't know why, with like the lettering and kind of like coding, kind of like it's almost like it reminds me of the Apple of Eden from Assassin's Creed, when you see all like the bright orange colors come from it. So like that one's on there, and then it bleeds straight into another one, which is like really orange illuminated based, and I'm like, that's again, it's so cryptic. I can't give you answers of like, oh, I know all about these games. And then you have the one after it where it's like almost like a green flare kind of coming up from the sky, and it is outside scale. So I think if we're going to assume that's like Earth or whatever planet it is, sorry, I feel like I'm not showing you like loads, but because I'm going live, it's just easier. So like this bottom part, it does look at it set in outer space. So again, we have like another really cool game that could be in the works. And this one is like really blowing my mind as well, which is I imagine if you've seen this is like really, really sci-fi, and I'm like all for that. Hello, Dreamwalker. How are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for your messages and your feedback as well. It's always helpful on my channel. It makes it much better. And this one was like my first indication that might have been the Montreal game. I don't know why, but it looks a bit cartoony. And then I was like, it looks a bit more cartoony on that side, where I was like, I don't think it's that one. So I kind of moved on from it. That one looks different. That looks like it's definitely like lower end. Like maybe it's different. Maybe it's a published game. Maybe. I assume the yellow one with a star. Yes, Dreamwalker. That's what I was thinking. I think that is Tell Me Why too. I think that they're going to do it. I don't know if it's going to be the same characters, or maybe they try and do it like an anthology story. Like I remember with Tell Me Why, like loads of people really enjoyed it. That was like the most Life is Strange-esque game from the studio for a while. And I will admit as well, I really do need to play more Dontnod games. They're on my list, especially Vampire as well. Adam's really recommended it to me. And I want to go back for the catalogue of things, because I know people are tweeting on here saying, Remember Me Too. And I'm like, I don't know about Remember Me Too. I don't know if that's going to happen. Like Capcom is very vicious with its sales, and like Remember Me was a big flop. Apparently great game. I've heard nothing but great things about Remember Me, but it was like, yeah, I just don't see that happening in today's day and age. I would be shocked if that happens. Clark's Tell Me Why was very good. Tell Me Why Anthology would be very good. Dreamwalker, I think they should visit Mother's Whole Family, the goal. Like, yeah, I think that can happen. And that can absolutely happen. I still wish Tell Me Why available on PlayStation and Xbox and PC. Yeah, see, like, I was a big fan of that, and like, I wanted it to be on other platforms. I always say to Adam's an Xbox player, and if you do watch Strangecast, you know that, like, he's an Xbox player, and we appeared on Games and Groceries, his other channel, and I was always saying to him, is like, it doesn't feel like a Microsoft game, Tell Me Why. It really doesn't, but I think because of, like, the relationship that Dontnod had with Microsoft, they could publish Tell Me Why, because like we were having that conversation about trans characters in the last Strangecast, and like that was like such a breakthrough moment of seeing a trans character in the lead role, and like the work that Dontnod did with Glad to kind of get a really good representation. August Aidan Black coming in for that role, a trans person coming in to play a trans character, and I think it was a big kind of like big factor of that kind of did it, because if Microsoft's taking essentially the kind of like publishing arm of it, they can publish it onto Games Pass like they did, get loads of people playing it, and then there's no kind of risks of sales in like multimedia, multi-markets across the world. Like it unfortunately is a hard part of like reality of that, where, it's just hard to sell trans characters in like a lot of places. So like, I think that's why it was on Xbox. And again, like it wouldn't surprise me if that is what we get as well, like Tell Me Why too, because like I don't see why Microsoft wouldn't bankroll another one. The image with the various symbols floating around it seems like they represent wind, mist, lightning, energy, but I couldn't figure out what language. Maybe an ancient. See, that's the Dreamwalker. That's what I mean when I was talking about it's like anciently kind of like Assassin's Creed. It reminds me of when you go, if you ever played Assassin's Creed, you go into the crypt and you see like the beings from the other planets, like when it goes down that really sci-fi route of like where Assassin's Creed did go. And I know a lot of people didn't enjoy it, but it was that point in the series where I think some people might have gone off it. But yeah, like that's what I got from it. Like I was like, what is this? It's like, so the symbols are like the main thing where I was like reading away from it. And I feel like you'll get a bit more of a concise reaction from me when we go on Strangecast in a couple of days when I record it with Adam, because I feel like this is just a reaction. I know that when I get more time to sit down and watch these kind of things, they kind of change. There's symbols that remind me of Hellblade and his sacrifice, just saying, yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like those symbols were like, they're very Aztecian kind of like ancient kind of things. So I feel like there's going to be a big element to that game. So we had, where do we get up to now? So we got to that one. Then we got the snow one, which I imagine is Goethe, which we actually were talking about on Strangecast before and plugged as well, and that's going to come out in September, I believe, when they gave the release date. And then it finally ends off with the Dontnod logo, and obviously, as we talked about in the website message that they sent, they also explained why the D shattered, and I think it's quite a nice logo. I think Dontnod has needed a rebrand for a while, and especially with where the developer's going now as well, in terms of having its Montreal crew, having its, multiple projects in place. It's good because I think, like, whether you like a Dontnod game or not, I know people are very divided on, like, whether you like certain games from them or not. You have, like, a timeline from them, which is always helpful, especially with Dontnod. They always say, like, here's this game coming out, this game coming out, this coming out. And they always have this kind of MCU-like structure in place. So we're assuming all these Dontnod games will be using. I would be very wise to assume that, Clark. I imagine they're going to be used Unreal Engine 5. It just seems like building an engine from scratch is just costs an absolute bomb. And then on top of that, it's like how long it takes to build an engine. I imagine maybe Dontnod might want to build an in-house engine later, because I think I remember like when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, it used the Fox engine. They took years to build that engine, and then when Kojima built Death Stranding, he used Decima from Guerrilla Games, so you had a completely different engine at that point, and it just saved them so much time doing that. So let's have a look. If you watch the Gerda trailer, it looks identical. Yeah, Dreamwalker, the one with the blue fiery looking stuff in space. At first I thought Northern Lights, then I wondered if it was just a very bright star. That's really interesting, that. I think it's like Luke has just updated his Twitter banner with the VHS. Yeah, okay. I think we can confirm then that is the thing. Yep, and he's updated it as well, as we have proof there as well. Thank you for that, Clark. It's like I've got a new profile banner 7 minutes ago. Yes, you do, Luke. Yes, you do. That's there. So we have confirmation from that. Yeah, that's obviously the one that I'm very much looking forward to. Like very much looking forward to. And they have loads of people involved in the team. So let me quickly get another one up. So we got Arnaud, who's the head of production at Dontnod Entertainment, or Dontnod actually. I shouldn't say Dontnod. He's tweeted as well saying Dontnod, new logo, we already love it. So yeah, I think we'll see a bit more. Obviously, I imagine Michel will come out at some point, and then we can see him dropping a little cryptic hit and stuff. We know that this is kind of coming along. Their studio is about the Montreal crew is about 33 people, I think. Last time when we covered that games industry biz, maybe it's more. About half men, half women. They've moved for a long time. They moved from France to Canada. They've been there for a while. They were building things. They even had that shoot when they were talking about, the actors were kind of hiring. So look, I'm curious what other games they plan to make, Andrew. Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I think this is the point where the turning point for Dontnod, where it's they have so much opportunity to make games now that they can just keep generating profit from certain games and then try to build really new and original ideas, because that's the thing with them. I don't think they're kind of the studio that wants to just make Life is Strange games, and that's why they can kind of walk away from the IP and then just start making their own games. And the opportunities are limitless for them. You look at their catalog of games like Remember Me, Life is Strange 1, Life is Strange 2, Twin Mirror, Vampire, look at all those games. Tell Me Why. Look at all those games. They're so different in their own kind of way. And some of them might draw more inspiration for it. Tell Me Why is very similar to Life is Strange 2. But I think you can get a gauge of what they're kind of going for, different ideas, different opportunities. You get involved with different publishers, Bandai Namco, or is it Bandai Namco now? Or is it Bandai Entertainment? Whatever it is, Bandai, they've worked with Microsoft, they've worked with Square Enix, they've worked with so many publishers, and I think and they've even published games themselves, so it's I think they probably want to publish their own games as well. So in my rampant speculation thread, I guessed a co-op multiplayer space game, but I have no idea really. Dreamwalker, that's a very interesting one. Because their games have never been what I'd consider the quote-unquote AAA huge kind of games where it's a Call of Duty or it's an Assassin's Creed, kind of a huge scale one, especially with co-op being in there as well. I feel like you could have done co-op in Tell Me Why. And personally speaking, that could have been an opportunity to have two people playing online locally. I was a big fan of was it A Way Out by Joseph Fares? The one we were in the prison. That was a really cool opportunity to play a game. I was thoroughly engrossed with that when I was playing with my mate online. I was like, this is so cool to play it. Let's have a look. Dreamwalker. It will be interesting to match up newly announced games with these teasers and see what's left. I think that's where they're going to be a bit more. I think if I'm right, Dreamwalker, I think they're going to be a bit cryptic with that. I think they're going to try and do they will really reveal some of their games and then try and not to obliterate their timeline, because they'd be oh, this one's left, this one's left, this one's left. But yeah, I think we've got really early indications from things, and it's this gives you an idea as well. Things are moving along, and especially I think going back to Montreal, that's the game that I am very, very excited for. That's the game that Adam's very excited for. That's the game that many people are excited for, because I always say with Luke and Michel, their main games have been Life is Strange 1 and 2 for the last 7 years or so, 9 years ago. It's they've been just working on Life is Strange games, and to give them a fresh IP with the opportunity to kind of create a magic again, a really magical title. That's what the first Life is Strange was about, and it was such a magical title. I think you have all the opportunity in the world with that. So Clark's Twin Mirror was actually really, really good. Very appealing characters. It just felt rushed and way too short. See, that's the criticism I've got a lot from Twin Mirror. It's it was very short. It felt like it was a bit, the characters seemed cool. And I think Twin Mirror just had that kind of thing where it was the Dontnod title that came out and it was self-published. and they struggled to kind of get out into the marketing sphere of it. Like, this is why I don't think, like, when people saw an announcement yesterday saying, hey, you know what, we're gonna reveal, like, you know, some like details about our games and stuff, people like so hyped up. They were like, in the comments, people were like saying Life is Strange 3, 4, and it's like, well, that's not gonna happen. And it was like all these messages, and I'm looking at them like, they're not going to just reveal a game like this on their Twitter feed. I feel like there's so many different expos and showcases that they're going to want to really, you know, put their game out on. I think that's what they want to do. So like, I think in itself, Twin Mirror has an opportunity to maybe be something they explore in the future. But I think because of the sales figures, and it didn't seem to hit its targets as well, I think that's where I don't think Dontnod's going to take that risk again. I think Remember Me is a very early calling for that studio of like remembering what happened, and unfortunately, even though it was a very good game, you know, it's gonna suffer from that. And yeah, you're right, Jim Walker says that as well. It really didn't sell well, I think. So it's doubtful. I wish it hadn't been cut. I wish much out of it. Yeah, see, that's that. Twin Mirror. Speaking of Twin Mirror, I wanted to know if game's going to get a sequel. Andrew, yeah, I agree. It was short. I really thought Twin Mirror was going to like 5 long episodes. Yeah, see, this is the thing. Like, I think in itself, I remember playing the first Life is Strange. They were very consistent with their release windows. Like, Michelle said it like in E3, where it's like they had 8-week release windows and they pretty much met them. And then the 5th episode came out at a delayed point, and that felt quite short, I think, compared to the first 4. I might be wrong, it might be my personal experience, but I felt that was quite a short experience. And that kind of like, when you put the entire game together, Life is Strange 1, it didn't give the full kind of experience that I was hoping for. Vampire hit millions units sold like a year ago, so I believe it's the second most successful in terms of sale. Yeah, it is Clark's, because that's what they said as well in their fiscal report. I remember reading the entire thing in my bed. If you want to see anything more embarrassing about the fact that what I actually do is read about Dontnod stuff in bed, I was reading through their fiscal report, and they said in there that, like, you know, Vampire and Life is Strange are the most successful games that the studios has produced to date. And like, Vampire is successful, and they have announced that they're going to be working with, I believe it's Focus, that they're going to be working with on an unannounced RPG. I would be very surprised if it isn't Vampire. Vampire has been on the PS Plus availability. I believe it's on Games Pass. If any of you know, I think it might be on Games Pass. And they're going to keep trying to, like, you know, get it out there, get it to appeal, because I imagine that whatever they're working on, that RPG game, is going to be a Vampire 2 probably. So I think the sequel is going to be happening, and if it seems to be quite popular as well. I think, like, you know, Adam said to me I would really enjoy it, and Adam's got a gauge of like what I like in games. Like, I'm pretty brutal with it, with what I like. If I don't like it, I don't like it. So that wouldn't surprise me if Vampire happens in that. And in itself, like, as well, like, look how cryptic all the logos are as well. It's like, we can't just look at the one that looks like very dated, gothic, vampire-esque, Spanish kind of influence logo. They're kind of like, the logos are so diverse, you don't know what's what. And I think, like, that's what I was trying to have the struggle with the Montreal game. When I was looking at them, I was like, which one's theirs? I'm like, there's 7 logos in here. It's giving you an indication of what's going to happen in each game, who's making it. And then I was like trying to figure out what theirs was, and I was kind of throwing a curveball at first when I didn't see when I watched back the VHS tape. I was like, that's got to be them. It's like very narrative. It just kind of seems to be their kind of vibe. I always kind of got that with Michelle and Luke and the other Dontnod crew, like who made Life is Strange 1. They're very much like in that kind of element of tapping into that. Let's have a look. Dreamwalker, Life is Strange 2. We were worried the second episode might never be released. Yeah, see, this is the thing. I remember that because, like, I was recently going back from my Hardcore Gamer reviews, and I reviewed them on release, embargoed and everything else. And we got the first code from Square Enix really early, and it was like, here you go. And I was reviewing FIFA 19, I believe it was. I think it was FIFA 19 at the same time. So I had more time to do Life is Strange 2 episode 1, sorry. Then we get to Life is Strange 2 episode 2, and it's months after it was released. I was like, what is going on here? It almost reminded me of the gap between Tales from the Borderlands episodes. It was so big at one point. I think this was the point where I believe, like, a lot of people would believe that the episodic format was kind of on its way out at that point. It just felt, well, it felt a little bit dated at that point. And I think, like, that's where the struggles have always been with it. Probably one of the logos should be Vampire 2. Yeah, I think so as well. I played Vampire and it was good, but that was a few years ago. I need to go back. I'm just recently getting back into RPGs, but that wasn't much at the time. Yeah, see, I've got like a backlog of like Dontnod games play. I'm going to go through everything they've played. I think because we're so invested in the podcast and stuff, I feel like I need to brush up my knowledge on them, and especially Vampire is one of my summer titles to play. I'm going to go back and play Twin Mirror at some point, and what's the other one now? Twin Mirror, Vampire, all of them that I missed out. Remember Me is one that I want to go back and play. I've not played Remember Me for a long time. I played that back when I really got invested in Life is Strange 1 back in 2015, so like my mind is like all over the place. And I remember that I believe Michelle was the art director on the Remember Me off the top of my head. I just feel like I have to go off the top of my head, but yeah, that was that. So let me just quickly go back to the Dontnod stuff quickly. So going back to their website, so they had a couple extra details on here on their website we didn't go through before, but we'll just go back through. And if anyone's tuning in, hello, nice to meet you. I feel like it's always seems quite. This channel's always been like me kind of pre-recording stuff, putting it on there, and then kind of interacting with people. But it's just nice to have a live experience with people who come here. And thank you to everyone who subscribes as well. We're closing in 900 subscribers, and the last video got loads more. And I hope you enjoy the reformatted of Strange Cast as well. It's kind of been long overdue to kind of get it to where it was at there, and it feels like a lot much better place. And Life After Strange is currently in the works, so don't worry, that series will come back. Episode 30 will hopefully be a big one. I'm just trying to get my guest involved at some point. Is recovering. So a quote from Oscar Gabert. So he said, and I quote, "I'm very proud of the journey that Dontnod has been on. Over the past 14 years, the company has evolved in many ways with a strong will to lead the way in creating and curating meaningful entertainment, through original and relatable stories, which empower our talents and players to inspire change, however small. The new brand's visual overhaul will help us convey our core identity," end quote. And just on their website as well, brand new website. As you can see, we have also launched a brand new website to replace our previous one. We want this new site to connect with you. Whether you're a fan of our games or you want to work with us, step into the universe of all our games and access exclusive content, behind the scenes snippets, and the latest news. If you want to take a look around our studio and career pages, you'll also have some insight into who we are and how we work. Our community is very important to us, and so we're happy to introduce our tailor-made user submission tool on our dedicated community pages, where you can submit your own fan-made creations, fan art, cosplays, testimonies. Oh, that's quite interesting. Poetry, etc., inspired by your favorite Dontnod games, to have your work featured on our website. We're always blown away by our fans' talent and are proud to showcase. That's really cool. To connect with that, that's quite singular. What else we got in here? My favorite reference to one Dontnod game and another, it was the Tin Mirror in the Book of Goblins. Very good shout, Dreamwalker. That was a really good shout. I like that they put their other influences in the games, and some of them sometimes they're really subtle, sometimes quite obvious. But like I was a big fan of in Tell Me Why, where you had the was it the butterfly poster? I think that was quite cool. So, Clark's, the wait between episodes for Life is Strange 2 was brutal. By the end, I was just ready for a conclusion. I had to go back and play all the way through to feel super immersed. I agree, it's super underrated. There's an Easter egg in Vampire. Called a Caulfield or something like that. And Dreamwalker, to be honest, I was expecting to see Dom live when I opened YouTube when it wasn't on. And I'd have picked you over him anyway. Oh, thank you, man. Appreciate that. No, it's like, Life is Strange 2 was brutal for the wait. I remember that. And it was just like, I had to go back and play episodes to kind of re-gauge where I was at. Obviously, they kind of give you a reminder of what happened, but that was kind of like, I think that's why I think many people feel the way that they do about Dontnod not wanting to make essentially another Life is Strange game. Because Life is Strange 2 does feel like it's got so much about it, like in terms of its development, the people are involved, like how it's going, the marketing of it. And I personally would love, like, it's just such a shame, like when they did the remastered collection for Life is Strange, like it wasn't involved in it. I know it was recent, it was more recent, but that felt like an Arcadia Bay collection to me rather than embracing all of Life is Strange. And like Sean and Daniel seem to always get left behind in the marketing, which is for me a big shame. But yeah, like I'm really digging this Dontnod kind of like news as well. I think like it's been quiet on all fronts, to be honest. Like all developers had these kind of moments where like there's been a backlog of games like not being announced, games that have been kind of like that we've been wanting to see a little bit of details on, but obviously pandemic for over 2 years it's kind of like hit everyone, and it's kind of like just slowed down the industry. Like I was saying this summer, like I've not really got that many games, and my main one to play is God of War that I'm waiting for. So like to see Dontnod kind of making its move is good. It's got like a big timeline in place. And I think like the Dontnod timeline is really good. I think like when you look at Dontnod's timeline with the 6 games that they got released, someone mentioned this in the Strangecast episode when we were talking about what we want to see in the future of Life is Strange. And I can't remember who it was, and I apologize because I remember their comment and seeing it as like, they're like, we don't get a clear direction with Life is Strange game. It's like, here's a Life is Strange game, enjoy it. And it's like, but like, why don't you just give us like a universe, build a universe where you have like set games, you know how many are going to come. And it's almost like, you know, it's not MCU, Life is Strange, but you have an opportunity to kind of like get, you know, certain games in place so we can all be excited for, and then rather than waiting, like, because I remember the Square Enix announcement for True Colors, it was like, yeah, there's a Life is Strange game coming, we'll show it at this showcase, and I was a bit like, right, okay, like, you know, I was hoping that maybe we had a bit more of a clearer direction that we knew it was going to come, and I think we knew for a while it was coming as well, because they'd like a lot of stuff had been leaked from it as well. Let's have a look. I'm still sad a bit, but my Asteroid Theory didn't work out. Life is Strange series. Well, Dreamwalker, I think like I can probably relate to you, and like a lot of my theories never panning out as well. Trust me, I've said a lot of things that have been wrong, a lot of things, whether it's in video games or something else, and it's never worked out. So I wouldn't be too bothered about that. But yeah, generally speaking, like the actual logos were cool. Go back onto Dontnod, and I think like that's kind of a good way for them to do it. I know some people found it really underwhelmed, and I think the tweet felt a bit cryptic as well, but I think I got what I needed from them in terms of like just knowing their kind of 6 games, like a little nice hint about what each logo is. I think obviously we'll go into Strangecast with Adam next week, and we'll kind of explain, you know, a lot more details about each one. We'll kind of break it apart a bit more. And obviously I wanted him on here, but, you know, it's just a bit unfortunate I couldn't get him on at this time. But yeah, it's like those are really cool. I think it's a good rebrand identity for Dontnod. I think it puts them in a very good positioning for the marketing that they want to kind of do. They're going to have to do a big marketing push on a lot of these games, and I'm just very excited that the Montreal crew has kind of like given us a very big hint about their game. Like, I just think it's such a nice teaser, that like video cassette tape. I don't know if they've actually done anything else, or if they've posted anything else on Twitter, so I'll quickly have a nosy on Luke's page and see if he's done anything. No, he hasn't. I don't think he's posted anything. Has he replied to anyone? No, he's not posting anything. Right. Okay. So yeah, that's one. Which one are you guys excited for the most that you're in chat? Tell me which one you're. Daniel was always moving rocks. Like, I can do it with small rocks, but not the big ones. And it was a space mission. The reason why he could deflect. Yeah, see, like, I don't think that's a bad theory, Dreamwalker. I think that's a really interesting theory, because, like, do you remember Captain Spirit and the way that they promoted that? The kind of outer space kind of theme, like Chris being like, you know, the superhero, the emphasis on all the characters that they were putting. I felt like it was going to kind of almost go down that road of like a space-esque, like, you know, Daniel has this huge responsibility, this power that's going to like go down there. But on the both side, I guess I can understand how end times preachers end time preachers can come to. Yeah, very true, very true, very true. So yeah, I love Captain Spirit. I love Captain Spirit as well. I think we had this conversation with Adam. Like, he's always said that he prefers Captain Spirit to Life is Strange 2, and I will make him play every single Life is Strange 2 episode. Do not worry, that episode's coming. That is going to be a very exciting episode when he plays those, because I will tear him apart for not liking Life is Strange 2. Great game. I'm most excited about the VHS tape as a Life is Strange 1 junkie. I can't wait to see what the Montreal, Michelle, Luke, and the Life is Strange team come up with as a follow-up to that masterpiece. Yeah, I think it's the one, Clarks. I think, like, I'm excited for all the other projects, obviously, and I think, like, because we haven't seen all the Dontnod crew, like, you know, we've seen kind of like a hint of who's worked on, like, Tell Me Why. We saw like the kind of crew with Life is Strange, and I think like the guys who made Life is Strange, for example, are the ones who are kind of like the face of like that kind of like with the fans, especially like Luke and Michelle. So I'm very much excited for it. I think that probably is one of the go-to ones. The main villain was literally an intersection of an asteroid and mantle too. Yeah, exactly. If Dontnod making games again, I'd love to see a Life is Strange game be based off the comics. Yeah, see, like, that's the thing, Andrew. Like, I think, like, the comics were a position where you could have made a Life is Strange game off it. Like, you could have made a Max trilogy about it. You could have had loads of opportunity there. I think like if you watch my interview with Emma Vicelli, she tells me about her original pitch for the Life is Strange comics series, and she said like she kind of went down a bit of a rabbit hole, but she went to kind of explore the idea of the Vortex Club. I was like, that sounds so cool. Oh dear, that was BBC's thingy. I should really put that on silent. Never mind. Apologies for that. But like, you know, they yeah, Emma said like, you know, her idea was to kind of go down the Vortex Club route, you know, and I think like that could have been so much opportunity to like be a character in the Vortex Club, see the rise of this kind of organization, see kind of Victoria Chase become Victoria Chase, see Nathan create more influence in like in Arcadia Bay, and have loads of opportunities to explore a story about. I think like that's one of the missed opportunities with that Arcadia Bay setting, and they kind of moved on so fast. I think I like BTS, even though a lot of people don't. But I think BTS was too, the structure wasn't good enough. It was 3 episodes, and it was kind of like just condensed to the point where you could only see so much. So you had like storylines kind of just like threading off of certain things, and they kind of, I don't know, I just hope they could have had a bit more of, with that series. So look, Dreamwalker, yep, VHS tape too. I think it's the one, isn't it? The VHS tape has to be the one that most people are excited for, and especially for me as well. Like I'm stupidly excited for that VHS tape. Game, that the Montreal game. I don't know when it's going to happen though. I think like I need to go back and watch my predictions of Adam. Actually, I think like I don't know if we'll see it this year. I have a funny feeling we might. Like they might drop a trailer or a teaser. Like even if like, do you remember the Life is Strange 2 teaser where the car gets flipped over and it shows the backpack? I thought that was such a cool teaser as well. I remember watching it back in the day. I was like, ooh, I was like, the boys are back. The boys are back, and they're making a really cool game, which is a great game as well. If you do not like Life is Strange 2, again, go and play it. It is great. Secondarily, the one with all the branches, because I feel it could have the most variety of choices. Interesting. There could be that. It could be that. At least Life is Strange comics aren't the Clementine comics. Yeah, I've never read the Clementine comics. Dreamwalker, I've heard very, very. I can understand people's pain, and I say this as someone who really enjoyed the Walking Dead series from Telltale. I think like that was Telltale's really like its peak moment as well for the studio. Like they made some great all 4 of those seasons, even though the 4th season had a lot of development issues. Life is Strange 2 was like Life is Strange 2. So Life is Strange 2. The Walking Dead season 4 was very good. I think now looking back, I kind of underrate it a little bit. And I think even though it's 4 episodes, it's solid all the way through. Clark, I think the Life is Strange 2 fandom would eat up Life is Strange 2 comics. There's a huge opportunity in my mind to follow almost any ending except I think Clark, you're right. I think like Life is Strange 2, it has a massive fan base. Like I understood that more because I tweeted about it was like a post where it's like name an underrated video game, and I put Life is Strange 2, and I put criminally underrated, and it's got like 80 plus tweets on it, loads of likes on it. I didn't actually realize, because I always get this kind of perception with people, it's like, oh, Life is Strange 2, it's like whatever, and I'm like, no, like loads of people love it. And I think with the comics, there's been missed opportunities, loads of parts. Imagine if they did like an Audible read. Like, imagine if they had got Hannah back in. Ashley Birch might be a bit more expensive now because of how much success she's had. Ashley Birch, you know, Kylie, and all these people to do like an audio read of the comics, or even turn it into like a graphic novel where you can actually buy it on like the store or something. I think it'd make a fortune. That it could have made an absolute fortune. All you'd have to do is like get Philip Bart to do the VO recordings, then turn it into a graphic novel on the store. I think people would eat that up. I think Life is Strange 2 Twitter would want Blood Brothers. They also want Finn there. Yeah, Dreamwalker, yeah. Finn has always been the big one for me. I always feel like it's weird that, like, I always had this kind of conversation about people with toxicity, and like Rachel's always seen as toxic, this person's seen toxic, and not many people say Finn's very toxic. I'm like, well, he's done very questionable things, especially with Daniel. It was like, how can you not see that as, toxic? I will deny I ever said this. Asked, but Blood Brothers feels a lot like Bay ending, Us Against the World. Yeah, I can see that as well. Those endings were great, man. They were so great. Like they were like the kind of endings I expected True Colors to have. Like True Colors endings were just, I felt like they were for me quite flat. Yeah, this kind of it was good. It was a good series, and it was a good game in itself, True Colors. But there were like a lot of issues I had with it, which doesn't take away from what Deck 9 did. I think it helped them, but I think it left me wanting a bit more. So glad Finn could potentially die in Life is Strange 2, so that he's unlikely to play a major role in any sequel. Yeah, I don't think he'd ever come back, the person who plays Finn either. That's just a probably from my thought of my opinion. I don't know. I think like Finn's a great character. I think like people said that you could have a game with Finn and Cassidy just playing a story about them. Like they were like Cassidy always reminds me like she was the most Life is Strange 1-esque character, while she wasn't at the same time. She was a bit different, but I feel like you could have just put her straight in Life is Strange 1. She would have fit like a glove. Tell us how you really feel. Yeah, that'll be a nice message in itself. But yeah, like I'm like pretty chuffed about this, and like as I said, like we'll have more content to come on. Strange Cast, definitely we'll be talking about this more. I think there's so much to talk about here, and it's nice that Luke actually tweeted saying that he used the thingy banner instead, because it actually makes so much more sense. That's that game. I thought like it might be cryptic. I was like, maybe if I should put this for the thumbnail, should I put the cassette tape? And it's like, will it be their game? Then he's actually confirmed that. I think Penny would be a great protagonist. He is great. Oh, Penny's a great character. Clark's great character, and Orwell as well. That Life After Strange episode I did with him. He is one of my favorite people I've ever had the opportunity to kind of talk to. Like, and I genuinely think like he would eat up a role as Penny. Like that was the great thing with Life is Strange too. Like so, when he's as you point out with Penny, he was just great character. And like you go into the campsite, you know, Cassidy, you know, your Finns, even whatever you think of them. Sean's, Daniels, they were so interesting characters. I've got immersed with the character. I didn't think if you didn't even like the story of Life is Strange 2, you got immersed with the characters. I thought the characters were written so well. I think like there was always that kind of idea where you could have had like a season pass-esque scenario with Life is Strange 2 where you have like individual stories being told of these characters. Like, for example, you could have done it around all the people getting to the campsite. It's like, why are all these people here? Like, you get a story in the actual game, but you could have done easily an individual episode. I always think that Life is Strange series has never tapped into a season pass potential. There's so much potential there. Some games get it and you like play them, and I played enough season passes in my life to think, you know, that they're okay. But like Life is Strange is built for those. You can easily build like chapter-based stories around each character. I feel like that way about Wavelengths, even though Wavelengths was again, it was like why are we stuck in a room? I know they were trying to go for the pandemic vibe and like, you know, living alone, but it's just like it just felt so flat for a game that's now quote unquote big AAA, like that it didn't have like people appearing like, you know, Rachel Ambers and Chloe's and stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, True Colors has Alex and Steph step on a bus together, but not quite the same as Bay vibes. Yeah, Dreamwalker. That's what I said. Like I feel like with Life is Strange, True Colors, like the scenarios you have with Alex and Steph, I feel like that should have been the strengthened point of it. They should have just gone down that route of like being a Max and Chloe-esque relationship, but then I feel like because you have that option with Ryan, and Ryan seems to be a bit more stronger than Warren in terms of a love interest, I think it's like it was just a bit imbalanced, so it doesn't really feel like it has that kind of same, you know, I know Ryan could support me with different choices with other characters. I will stick with Steph, especially because I knew a lot longer that with Ryan. Yeah, Andrew, yeah. See, that's what I mean. Like, I remember playing True Colors the first time, going through it and thinking, hey, like, it has to be Steph. That just seems to be the option to do it. Like, you have to play as, you know, you have to kind of go down the route of having Steph as the character to support Alex's story. I feel like that's the one that they'll try to entice me down, and then it just flips. Do you know, like in a couple episodes, it's like, here's Ryan. It's like it keep pushing Ryan on you. It's like, here's Ryan, and I'm like, I like Ryan, but you know, I'm not really that fussed about it. Jace, hello, welcome. Wavelengths could have been its own game, and oh my god, it'd have been amazing. Yeah. I always argue with people as well. Like, Katie Benz could have been the main character of Life is Strange True Colors in terms of Steph Gingrich could have been the main character. Like, she could have easily have done it. I think they brought Alex in because they were like, yeah, let's bring it in, then we'll bring our own character in terms of Steph and put her in this supporting role. But I think you could have even had Life is Strange True Colors being built, and then Steph Gingrich was the main character. And it feels like sometimes, like, I feel like sometimes Steph is like pushing to become the main character, and it's like she's like just there, and it's like, and yeah, and I think like Wavelengths could have been bigger, better, and you could have like, you know, charged like $15 for it and like gone, here you go, here's like a fully fledged kind of like experience. We're gonna like let you go down the town as Steph. It's set just before Alex turns up. You kind of interact with these characters. You can see this part of Finky. you know, you kind of get a bit more of an experience, because it's like, it's nice seeing those kind of like relationships with like Tinder, like you can like, has that kind of like esque vibe where you can like date people, text them, whatever. But it's like, I feel like this is what I'd see in Life is Strange 1 back in 2015, because it was limited at that time. And this is kind of trying to be a bit more out there as a game where, you know, we're not just like limited to everything. Like we can kind of go out there, see people, experience people. Dreamwalker, Adnan, you're in London, right? I was planning to visit London in April 2020, but it got cancelled. Thinking about summer 2023, which will be 6 years after the border. No, I'm not based in London. I'm actually based in Manchester, so I'm up north, unfortunately. I've been to London only once in my life, which is a bit of a thing to admit, but like, yeah, I've only been to London once. If I was based in London, I would have seen the Deck 9 crew, because I knew like Webb, Erica, Han, and Katie came down for the BAFTAs. If I was based in London, I would have like been like emailing them saying like, can we meet? Like, can you sign my stuff, please? My True Colours merchandise. Jace, I don't know. I loved Life is Strange 3 and Wavelengths, but I just wanted to explore Steph's arc and story a bit more. How she dealt with grief of losing Rachel and maybe Chloe. Yeah, see, like that's what I mean, Jace. Like I feel like there was so much more about it. Wavelengths explains why Steph can just up and leave at the end. Yeah, like that's it's a good DLC. I was just, for me personally, I was left a bit wanting, because I was like, there's just so much more opportunity to like, you know, explore these kind of characters, like, you know, and especially with like Steph just kind of like is stuck in this radio booth talking to people. And it's like, yeah, okay, I get it. You can talk to this person calling, you can talk to this person, you kind of see the vibe where Steph's kind of alone there. But like, I wanted Mikey to be there. They had Mikey in the Skype call. It's like, bring him in there. It's like, bring him there. Like, I'd like to see like Mikey like turned up in Haven. Like, that would have been so cool. Dreamwalker, you mean the UK has more than one city? I know. You know, we actually have more than one city. I feel like that's something that Adam would say as well. You're welcome to come down and meet up while I'm there. I was going to meet up with some Life is Strange 2 people at the time. I don't know if you know Serrated Cucumber. I don't know Serrated Cucumber, but that is a great name. That's a great name. No, I didn't know that. That sounds like a great invitation. And wow, I didn't even know Life is Strange 2 crew had like a nice little meet up in London. That's actually quite cool. That's really cool. Good to know that more people from the UK love Life is Strange 2. Thank you. Manchester is amazing. I live in it at the moment. Oh, nice, Jace. Yeah, it is nice. It is really nice. It's quite nice to be out here and see things. This has completely gone off from where I was at having this chat. It's 52 minutes in. Wow. Straight Cucumber used to make some Life is Strange 2 videos and was in a Discord with me. Oh, right. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm like still kind of getting familiar with people who are actually in this community. I know some people, like I know Dom the Bomber, that seems to be the most popular one, and like Adam mentions him to me every time, but I'm like limited with my experience of like how many people are in this fandom doing all this stuff. Usually it's just me like, here's a new Strange Cast episode, here's a new Life After Strange episode, and then just disappearing for like 2 weeks or like 3 weeks or 4 weeks at a time or something, and then like just doing my thing. So yeah, and it's, as I said before, like when you came on, it's like nice to talk to people who come back. Like I always see people coming back to the channel and just having a chat with them. Like it feels quite robotic sometimes with me like just posting a video, then you coming watching it and then not getting a chance to ask me something or talk to me about something. And we might even try and do a Strange Cast episode live in the future, because like I've set this up now and managed to set it up quite well, so we might even try and do one live. And if you are listening as well, Strange Cast will have a very exciting guest coming up in a couple of weeks, hopefully. I'm trying to lock this person down. We were going to do it this week, but we are going to you know, we're gonna have to like reschedule with that person. Clark's, I'm still bitter that Wavelengths brought up Max's Storm, but decided to have Chloe go off the radar rather than have some sort of message from Chloe with a mention of Max, but I digress. Yeah, I get that. I get that with because like that's the thing. Like when you have the Bay ending, and it's like you kind of like make these other games. It's like how are we kind of you know, putting the universe in its story element in terms of if you're going to go down the Bay ending of like this Arcadia's Bay is being destroyed, then you kind of have to bring in some kind of influence from Max and have watched how she feels. I think Deck Nine's I get why people don't like Deck Nine in terms of how they handle Max. I think like that's kind of always been. I've really understood that because I think like, especially with when me and Hannah talked about it in the Strange Cast episode recently, because she appeared on the first episode of Life After Strange and told me about her reservations about life, about Max being represented before Storm, and then you get to Life is Straight. When we revisited it back on Strange Cast, she said I kind of see why people like told me that, and I felt a bit reserved because like Max is meant to be that really innocent character, and I think she kind of gets misunderstood sometimes. But I think in itself, that's the magic of Life is Strange. I think some people see some characters as really toxic and stuff, and then other people don't see them as toxic. And I'm like, I like hearing other people's opinions. Like I've always said, I'm a big Rachel advocate. I know other people really, really don't like that character. Clarks, I know that you don't like it, but yeah, I know how people feel about characters. So, you know, I get that. Let me quick look. Dreamwalker, but you have 100 times voice acting the dumbass. I mean, like he has his own thing, and I respect him for that. And I've watched some of his videos that, you know, he has his own thing, and I have my thing. Like my strength is to speak to the actors, and I think like that's what I've always wanted to do with Life After Strange. I think like where it's at now, I was thinking like, you know, a couple of months ago when that channel went on hiatus, I was looking through the playlist and there's 29 interviews with 29 actors from the series. That's mad. There's nothing like it on the internet. There's nothing like that on the internet. If you're watching, like, I see people turn up my channel, it's like, ooh, I've never seen this channel before, and it's like, this is so cool. It's like, this is so cool. It's like 29 actors here talking about Life is Strange across like five plus years of like the series being in its existence with this many games in the franchise. It's always really cool to see that. So yeah, Claus, that's exciting. Cool guest. Yeah, very, very cool guest. I really like this person as well. This is so cool. Sometimes Dreamwalker, sometimes I wonder what the minimum bar for a voice actor interview. Like, would the gas station get an interview? Probably not. And no, I'm not requesting. You know what? Dreamwalker, like the sky is limit for people on that interview series, because like Taylor Christensen, we did Emily Sargent on there, and her character's not even in the game. I know Taylor's like an established character in Life is Strange 1, but it's always good to have everyone on there. I feel like I always reach out to people. I would have anyone, even if they're the smallest character. I would love to have an interview with a bald guy, for example. Who wouldn't want to talk to a bald guy? But there's like loads of people that I've not had the opportunity to reach out to yet and not speak to yet. There's one who I'm currently working on, and I wanted to talk to this person for a very long time. It's not Ashley Birch, unfortunately, I'll put that out there. But if you caught my stream with Webb 2 years ago when I was on his Twitch stream, I did actually mention this person as well. I've been waiting 2 years or so to interview this person. I just recently got in contact with them, but it's just getting put on the back burner for the moment, so I need to kind of just work on that. So Jace, Deck 9 just forgot she existed. Haha. Yeah, I get that with Max. Yeah, she did. They do seem to think that with Max. I don't think Max gets enough attention. It's like, you know, I just don't get it sometimes. Clark, gotta run. Keep up beautiful work, Adnan. Love your content, Ton. Thank you, Clarks. Appreciate it, man. It's so great to see you again. It's really nice. Interview with Valkyrie's voice actor for April Fool's Day. Oh, right. I remember that one. I remember that one about the character not even making it. Yeah, Dreamwalker. I know. Valkyrie is Kara's cat, who's works at Deck 9, and yeah, Kara's really cool. Obviously, a cat wouldn't be able to talk to me, and that would be a bit difficult. Jace, don't want to divert the convo, but you guys cover the comics. Only seen your Strange Cast for BTS, Life is Strange, Bree, and Wavelengths alongside. Right, so I haven't read all the comics yet. Jace, I haven't read all the comics yet. I've read the first 3 volumes, and I've got the other 2 volumes ordered, and they're on my shelf at the minute, and I need to buy the 6th volume as well, because I need to go back and I need to go back and read through that now. I'm planning this summer to finish all 3 of them off, so I don't know how it ends, and I finished on the volume 3 at the minute, but I agree. I really like the comics. I think they're just thinking. Oh God, I need to give me a second. That's BBC again. Non-stop. That is that actually breaking news. No, I'm not gonna ignore that. Yeah, it's like the comics are really fun. I really like them. I think like I know why some people don't like them. I think there's some kind of argument where people like the choice elements kind of removed from it. I'm like, yeah, it kind of has to be compared to the Dontnod games. It's going to have to be a very linear story. It's set in a comic series, and whatever I think with people, I always see people like Claudio Leonardi's drawings are so incredible. I think you have to love them. You really do have to love them. I've got to eat lunch now too. Thanks for the stream. Thanks, Streamwalker. Really appreciate it. Take care of yourself. We will end this soon, so we have gone off a long time, and I will have to pop off. But I kind of just wanted to start off. Well, we're going completely off the Dontnod Montreal, and Dontnod news as well. But yeah, I thought I'd just stick around to keep talking to you guys. But yeah, if you are tuning in, just give me a second. I'm going to let my cat out. Yes, my cat has been hit. Right, we're back. So yeah, I think I'm going to end the stream here. I think like a lot of people have come and gone. I've talked for a while. Like I said, there'll be more time for me to kind of sit down. I kind of really want to go back and watch all these clips. I want to really watch. I really want to watch like each one, see what the clips are, like really analyze it with Adam. I think like as I said, like the early part of this video is just a reactionary thing. I was just watching it and then kind of just giving you my thoughts on it. So I kind of just wanted to jump on here first, give you a bit of reaction. It's nice to kind of interact with you, some of you as well. Like, you know, I've seen you around my videos, seen you interact on Twitter, and it's just kind of nice to, you know, not seem like I'm a robot just putting up these videos. So it's kind of just nice to chat with you and kind of give my thoughts on it, hear your thoughts on it. As I said, we'll be recording a Strange Cast later this week, and then I imagine it's going to be a big mammoth topic that we'll be talking about in there. And I think in between that, hopefully, you know, Michelle tweets something as well, and we hear other people tweet from Montreal, so we can kind of like get, you know, they won't say huge things, but it'll just be like nice to kind of get additional inputs on everything. So yeah, like as I said, like, you know, and I hope you all enjoyed it as well. The channel keeps growing as well. We're slowly climbing to 900. So if you aren't subscribed, do subscribe. It always just helps the channel. We've got a bit more of a recent one. We had a nice revamp for Strange Cast. There'll be a nice revamp coming for Life After Strange. Other video content that I'm going to be working on in the next couple of months and stuff. It's always nice to be back. So Jace, I've enjoyed it though. Great to see Life is Strange content continuing to go 5 years after game. Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, much love, Adnan. Yeah, thank you, man. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Take care of yourself. We will be back next week with the Strange Cast episode, which will cover the stuff from the Dontnod Montreal news. I'm working on another video. Hopefully that'll be something else. It's Life is Strange related. It's an interview with someone, but hopefully that gets done. And the week after that, hopefully my hopefully my Strange Cast guest is on that as well, because I think it'd be really exciting. People haven't heard from this person for a long time, and I think they'll really enjoy it. And I'm working on Life After Strange at the minute as well, so I'm hoping that comes back at some point. So still pushing, and hopefully it comes back. But yeah, guys, until then, take care of yourself. I'll see you again.